Hey everyone, I'm Mark.
And I'm Daniel. We're outside of Pleasure Island at Disney World.
And you're watching Step 1.
Swallowing flies up B's and B's, knees, E's and G-strings, C's and We's and funny little feeling. Lick it dry, wonder just who am I? Prison wanting teenage boy, transvestite with high heels on. Hey, where is my life gone? Ain't done anything I want. According to my list, I've still got so many musicians to kill.
Everyone, welcome back. This time it's episode 4. We got tons of stuff for you this week. We got case mods. We're going back to having some SQL, more Wi-Fi network security, programs that cost less than a penny. We got it pretty much packed this week. But let's go ahead and kick it off with the Wi-Fi network security.
All right, man.
Last episode we showed you how to set up a fairly secure home wireless network, but we thought it would be kind of irresponsible not to show you some of the security holes that come along with it. We know it's been done a lot before, so we're not going to show you step by step. We're just going to kind of go through the list of things.
Now, with the disabling the SSID broadcasting, there are programs out there like Kismet which can pick up on the pick up your packets which have the SSID contained within them.
And as far as web encryption goes, everyone knows web can be cracked. Just air snort, pick up enough interesting packets, and it'll eventually crack the encryption.
And as for the MAC address filtering, programs such as AirSnort will also pick up on the packets which contain a person's MAC address, and then you can just spoof it.
It's been brought to my attention that we didn't use WPA, but as I'll show you in a later episode, it's kind of inefficient to set up as compared to how easy it is to break. If you want more detailed information, it'll be available in the show notes. We really just didn't want to waste your time since like 3 or 4 other shows out there have done segments on this, and if you're interested, go ahead and check them out. They'll be in the show notes too.
We're going to actually be revisiting Wi-Fi network security one more time, but we're going to give you a little break from that. But let's go ahead and keep things going.
And, well, let's kick it off with case mod. Suppose when you built your box, you weren't planning to go to live LAN parties and didn't buy a case with a handle, such as this one. Well, today's quick case mod, we're going to show you how to put a handle on a standard ATX case. First, we're going to list some parts for you. We have here a handle we picked up from the local hardware store, about $5 or so. It came with 2 screws, and then we bought a bag of washers, which was about $1 or so, and then a bag of nuts, which was about another $1. First off, you want to measure off your case. Make sure you measure twice when doing this. And then grab the handle, put it on top where you marked your holes. Make sure everything lines up, top and bottom of the case. Good. And a note for everyone, when you're doing this, the back side of the handle, you want to make sure that when you put the screw in, you don't want to have it up against or close to the power supply, because the power supply is very snug to the top usually on standard ATX cases, and that'd just be all kinds of trouble for you guys. Alright, and let's go ahead and start drilling into this thing. Alright, and on to the second hole, guys. Alright, then what you want to do is get yourself a screw, 1 washer on the bottom, and poke it up through this first hole. Then put one washer here on top. And for some leverage, we're going to put two nuts here. All right. And now to do the other one. And that wraps it up for this week's quick case mod, putting a handle on a standard ATX case for under $10. I recommend it to anyone who doesn't have it. And don't worry guys, Danny's going to be back next week. He's got some sweet mods lined up for that Chief Tech case we've been working on. And now over to Aaron for a quick Windows tip.
Hey, what's up? I'm going to show you a quick little startup tip that's going to help to eliminate the time that it takes to load your desktop after you click on what user you want to use. The way it does this is it loads all your desktop information during your regular startup. So you go down to Start, you go Run, and you're going to want to type in Control space user passwords 2, all is one word, and click OK. This is going to take you to all of your usernames. You click which username you want this to work for, and then you uncheck user must enter a username and password. It's going to ask you to set up a password, but just go ahead and click OK if you don't want to use one. Then you click Apply. This is where it asks you to put in your password. We're not going to use one, so just go ahead and click OK. Then you go down and hit OK. Next, you go to your Start icon. Then you right-click on that and go to Explore. Go down to Programs and Startup. Go into this window and right-click, New, and then create a new shortcut. Now this is a fairly long string, but you can just go ahead and copy and paste this from the show notes that's going to be on our website. Click Next, and this is where you name the shortcut. We're just going to go ahead and use the default Run32. Click Finish. Go ahead and close this, and then you can restart your computer and it should work. We'll get back to you in a couple minutes when this restarts. If you notice, it goes to your desktop for just a second, and now it's going to go to your user list. That's when you're going to click on your user, and it should take you straight to your desktop without any load time at all. As you can see, now it's bringing us back to the login screen. I'm going to go ahead and click on my profile. Look at that, desktop's already up. Alright guys, that was your startup Windows tip for this week.
Personally, for a person who goes to a lot of LAN parties, that handle on the case helps a lot, especially when you're transporting a 40-pound, steel case or something like that, man. Just crazy, dude.
Yeah, those big Chief Tech ones, they're pretty heavy.
Chief Tech, Thermaltake, all of them.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and bounce it right over to Daniel again. This should be the last SQL segment for a while, so I hope you enjoy.
Last time Daniel showed you how to bypass the login on a website using SQL injections. While this is something that's pretty well guarded in most websites, something that's often overlooked is the I forgot my password page.
Yeah, a lot of people will overlook the security on these pages because they don't even think about it. They're like, well, it's not the login, so what can really happen? Well, you can actually map an entire database if you use the right kind of SQL injections. You can get like all the information that doesn't seem readily available through database error messages.
Right. And how would we start doing this?
Well, the first thing what you're actually doing is trying to cast a variable to a data type that, like you're trying to cast a string to an integer or something like that. And it's basically going to say, well, you can't do that, and give you an error message. But the first thing we're going to do is with an apostrophe, just like with the last one, we're going to end that variable request. But this time we're going to try and add another command. So we're going to say and then we're trying to set it equal to an integer, so we're going to put 1 equals, and then the command, which is going to be select top 1 table name from information schema.tables. And what that's going to do is take the very first table name from the information schema.tables, which is basically just a variable that is almost like a map of the entire database. And we're going to click submit, and we'll return is an error message that says syntax error converting the varchar value rel, that's the name of the table, to a column of data type int.
Right. So what you're basically doing is tricking the error handling into giving you the name of the tables within the database.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so now we've got the name of that table. And now to find the rest of them, we're going to use the not in function. So right after that, right after your original command, you type where table name not in, and then the name of the table that you just found.
And this pretty much makes it pass over that table name and go on to the next top one found.
Exactly. So the next table in this database is actually admin, so we're pretty much just going to stop right here. We're going to take this table name and see what we can't get out of it. So now what we want to do is find the name of the columns within the table. So we're doing pretty much the same command, just pretty much everything where it said tables is going to say columns. So this time it's going to be select top one column name from information schema.columns. But this time it's going to be where the table name is equal to admin. And this will give you the first column, or yeah, the first column in the table, admin.
Right.
And that is admin ID. So to map the rest of that table, we're going to use the not in function again.
Okay. And that'll give us the next column in the admin table.
Okay, so the next column name is email address. So we're going to save that and just kind of add that to not in. So now it's skipping over admin ID and email address, and it's just going to jump to the next column name.
Okay.
And that's password. So we've pretty much got everything we want. We've got the admin ID, the email address, and the password.
So now we can pretty much gain root on this server.
Well, not really root, but just the terminology. We can log in as the admin.
Right.
Alright, so we're going to pretty much delete everything we had there. And this time we're going to do select top one email address from admin. Alright, and it gives us the email address. I'm not going to tell you what the email address is, but it gives us the email address of the first person in the admin list. So we're going to copy that. And now we're going to get the password of that one by selecting password from admin where the email address is the email address that we just got.
All right.
Alright, and it just gave us the password. So now all we really have to do is go to the first page and just log in. This is just the admin login is pretty much the least of your worries. What you're really worried about is where they save your credit card numbers, your
Right.
address, phone number, all your personal information, everything like that.
Yeah, and obviously if you write a website with a database, this is something that you want to make sure you don't overlook. And if you ever happen to be buying something from certain websites, you might want to make sure they're secure first.
Like the suggestion I gave last time, just check it out. If it has this insecurity, just take your business elsewhere.
Right.
that pretty much wraps it up for SQL injections, but I did want to say one thing. A lot of the times people will get thrown off track because they'll put it in, they'll try to get the error message for the password, and it'll just say email sent. And they'll be like, what happened? Well, what actually happened was there was no error because you're setting, like their actual password was an integer value. So you're trying to set an integer equal to an integer so it works out. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to convert that password to a string and add more stuff to it. Like, let's say I say convert in password plus WASD. It will have their numerical password plus WASD at the end. You just get rid of WASD, use the numeric password, and that should log you in. So it just goes to show you that you can get more information than is readily available by tricking the exception handler.
So that wraps everything up, and just remember, before you go handing out your information on a website, make sure it's secure. It'll only take you a couple seconds, and if you have any questions, just check the show notes.
Yeah, or email me, Daniel at StepOnePro.com, and
Jason at StepOnePro.com.
Alright, yeah, I know this seems really basic, but it's just the old saying, the robber checks to see if the door is unlocked before he tries to break in. So it may seem basic, but if there's a really easy way to get into a website, someone will just use that.
Alright.
Don't forget, guys, pretty much everything that we mentioned in that segment, it's going to be in the show notes, so don't fret. But, check the lock before breaking in. I mean, it was that easy. They went to the forget your password page, and they got in. But,
well, I guess over to Mark for programs that cost less than a penny.
All right. Now it's time for programs that cost less than a penny. This week, we're going to switch it up a little bit and do a few different things. One main difference is we're going to do multiple programs this time. This isn't going to be every time, but, we got to do what we got to do. But first things first, we're going to do pretty much your Microsoft Office and Adobe Acrobat kind of replacement setup. First off, a lot of people have already heard of this. It's OpenOffice. Pretty much anyone that runs Linux already has it. OpenOffice is a great replacement to Microsoft Office. One of the main reasons is that it includes a program called Calc. Calc is the Excel replacement, which is your standard spreadsheet. I'm sure you've seen them before if you've used Microsoft Office. It's very easy to use, especially if you're used to Excel. You can kind of dive right into that one. Another one that they have that's included in OpenOffice is Base. Base is just a regular database kind of thing, plus a little bit extra, because you can do multiple things at once. Let's say if you want to track, let's say, your recipes or the books you have, the music you have, the DVDs, anything. You can track it all, or even contacts. That's mostly what it's made for, but you can do really anything with it. Another one that's included is Draw. Draw is a, I know it's really basic names, but Draw is a, kind of like if you create graphs and stuff like that, or if you have, if you want to create, let's say, a tech tree kind of thing, Draw is your best friend. Draw makes everything look that much better when you're trying to show which kind of way the tech tree goes, anything like that. It's a very clean cut, and it's a very easy program to use too. Another one is called Impress. Impress is the PowerPoint replacement. It's very similar to PowerPoint, especially with the whole template idea. The templates are very easy to use, especially because you just enter in the information, you're good to go. I definitely recommend using that over PowerPoint for a few reasons, and mostly because the templates are just so easy to use. Math is another program that's included in the bunch. Math allows you to create like equations and stuff like that. It's really cool, let's say if you're a teacher, and it's very easy to create tests and stuff like that. It's a very simple program to jump into, especially if you already understand the way that program works, which is very similar to the way the calc side of it works. So if you know Excel, most likely you'll be able to jump into math too. Another program that's included, and it's kind of like the key feature of OpenOffice, is the Writer. The Writer is very similar to Microsoft Office's Word. It's very easy to use, especially if you used that one before, because the menus are all set up very similar. But I feel as if it doesn't have the feel of Microsoft Office. And like that's one reason why I'm going to talk about Abby Word in a second. But Writer just kind of has that thing kind of missing from it. But all the open office programs, if you use Linux, you probably already have them, but it's also available for Windows and for Mac. So if you have Windows or Mac, I would definitely recommend downloading that. But another one is Abby Word, actually. Abby Word is more similar, I think, to Microsoft Word than OpenOffice's Writer. Mainly because it just has that feeling, it's a whole lot cleaner, I think, and I feel like it just runs that much better. But that's just me. That pretty much wraps it up for the actual Office replacements. There's a few other programs out there. The only reason why I mentioned these is just because those are the key ones, and I would normally recommend these, especially for anyone that's a beginner or experienced user, just because they're very easy to dive into. Let's go ahead and dive right into Foxit Reader. Foxit Reader is the Adobe Reader alternative. I don't really like the alternative word for this one, just because this program is just straight up better. Adobe Reader takes forever to load. Sometimes it can be glitchy. The file is like almost 50 megs. It takes forever to download if you're at work or on like a shared connection. It's just not worth it. Especially one thing, they don't even support 2000 and before. And if they do, you have to get the older version, which is almost impossible to find from their site. That's why I recommend Foxit Reader. Foxit Reader is 95 plus compatible, so you can use it whether you're using Server 2003 or XP 2098, second or first edition, anything. The program is very fast and very stable. When you click a document, it loads up like that. That's why I personally recommend Foxit Reader. But let's say if you work in an office environment and you have to send someone a PDF format, that's when PDF Creator comes into play. PDF Creator, you can use that with any program, whether it's Firefox or OpenOffice, Abby Word, even Internet Explorer if you still use that. But what it does is it sets itself up as a printer. So when you press print, you select that as a printer, and when you press OK, it brings up this other menu. This now will ask you whether you want to send it to an email or if you want to save the document onto your hard drive or whatever you really want to do with it. And it's very fast. Again, just like Foxit Reader, I feel like it just has that feel of power when you're using it. I don't really feel that when I'm using Adobe. It just seems like Adobe feels so troublesome. It's too big of a file for what it does. All it does is create another document. It's a converter, that's what it is. But PDF Creator is just great at what it does. I definitely recommend that one. Now getting back into the Office applications, one of them that isn't in OpenOffice is Front Page. Front Page is a very good HTML editor. One main reason that I like it so much is the fact that it has, of course, your source code on the top, and then it has in real time the website. So let's say if you're making changes and you're building the website for the first time, you constantly have to save it and look at it, if you're using like Notepad. But with Front Page, you can pretty much type in the source code and it's immediately changing on the bottom. Now that's where I feel like New View is kind of losing out, because with New View you have to type in whatever you want to see in type in whatever you want in the source code, and then you have to go and click Preview at the bottom just to see what happens. And since it has the option of previewing it before it saves it, there's no reason for it not to run in real time. It should just do the split screen option, just like Microsoft Office's Front Page does, but for some reason they don't do it. And I feel like that really handicaps this program because it has so much potential being free and all, and it's just a very powerful program. I mean, at work I use this program, but I wouldn't recommend it if you're building the website for the first time. If you already have a website set, I would say use New View. It's easy to use, it's very fast, but it just misses a few key features that really makes Front Page a really powerful program. And last but not least, there's DIA. DIA is a Microsoft Visio alternative. It's available for Linux, and it's kind of ported over to Windows, but it's very hard to find now. But still, the port is very stable, and the Linux one is just very powerful, straight up. But what this program does, I don't know if you've used Visio in the past, but Visio is a very cool program. A lot of professors use it in colleges because you can, let's say if you have a tablet PC, you can actually draw the document kind of thing. But for instance, let's say if you use it on your computer, say a football coach, he could create plays because you can just kind of like sketch designs. It's very cool to explain something. Let's say if you aren't there with someone, you can design it on here as like a outline of what you want to see on a document or whatever. Send it to them and they'll kind of get the idea because it's a very visual kind of document that you're sending. But now with OpenOffice, once again, that's Windows, Mac, and Linux compatible. Abby Word is the same way, Mac, Linux, and Windows. Foxit Reader is Windows only. PDF Creator is Windows only, but I'm sure there's alternatives to those for your Mac and Linux users. And then NewView is Linux, Windows, Mac, and also something called Click and Run compatible. Click and Run is something you would see in was Windows, but now it's called Linspire. Not many people use that operating system, but it kind of throws it out there. If you do have Linspire, this program is part of the Click and Run package. So if you have Click and Run it. And DIA, the Visio alternative, is a Linux program. Now there is a kind of a port to Windows. You have to search that in Google to really find it. But we will have the links to all the downloads in the show notes. And one other thing that I want to add, this whole software package, is only about 100 megabytes. So let's say if you have a jump drive, you can have the entire Microsoft Office and Adobe replacement on your thumb drive and have it at work or whatever. Let's say if your computer crashes and you have to get something done really quick, you can reinstall real quick and you already have these programs good to go. Personally, I keep a lot of programs like this on my jump drive just in case something happens. These are necessities of really getting the most out of your computer. But this wraps it up this week for programs that cost less than a penny. And don't forget, we will be back with programs that cost less than a penny on the 1st of February. But we'll see you then.
I pretty much replaced all my Office software at home with that, and hey man, free, a lot better than paying for the stuff.
Yeah, all those links to all the programs that I mentioned are going to be in the show notes. Definitely check those out. But it looks like we're not going to be here for the first.
Yeah, we're taking some time off for the holidays. We got a lot of people out of state, out of country.
Yeah, but don't forget guys, the 15th we will be back, and don't fret, it's something completely new.
Big, man.
Big.
Something big.
Something big. So you have to check it out, the 15th.
You gotta look out.
Yeah, StepONE.
What?